Welcome back to Empower Your Soul. Today on Halloween, I wanted to talk about the importance of finding your coven. So this is definitely more for geared towards the spiritual people out here, the mediums, the psychics, the intuitives, the witchy people, which I love you. You are my people. But also, I think this is true for everybody that'll listen to this podcast, even if you're not practicing one of these spiritual modalities, because it is so important to find your group of friends, aka your coven, that you can be 100% authentic with. And there is, without going into too much and too far down the rabbit hole, obviously society places a lot of demands on us. There's a lot of expectations from when we're young children on how to behave, how to have these social norms, what kinds of jokes are funny. And as we get older, we assimilate so much into the cultures that you're around, whether that's a very loud family, a very reserved family, whether that's you're working in financial services or you're working in a restaurant business, right? We tend to, I'm going to say, take the form of the environments that are around us very naturally, because we need to survive them, right? We do not always want to stick out like a sore thumb. Sometimes we want to expend the least amount of energy and make it through our day, make it through our events, make it through our work, which is totally fine. And even if that means that you change who you are, you change your perspectives, you change your jokes, you change your persona, just to make it easier for you to get through the day. But I want to go back and say that's energy. That takes your energy to be someone else, to do something else, to show up as someone else. And that's fine, but you still need a place to be 100% authentically you. And I don't think a lot of people talk about this or think about this, because we all crave that being seen. We all crave wanting people to notice us, to love us for who we are. But it takes a lot to want to find that group of friends, or even to find, though, not even want to find, to actually find that group of friends that really cherishes you for you and appreciates you for you, and who you can let your guard down and be 100% authentically you, with your bad jokes, your horrible puns, right? With your leggings, by the way, I wear those 24/7, right? Like with the sweatshirts, the hoodies, like the old, bringing like your old stuff from college, you know what I'm talking about. And, just show up as you, without expectations, without feeling like you're going to be a social pariah, and show up and share your bad jokes, right? So this is interesting for me, because I started my quote unquote coven from a spiritual perspective, mainly as an outlet. So I'm gonna not go too far into my history here, but essentially, I corporate America, different persona. All of my friends went to business school. Like we are a bunch of nerds. We are a bunch of nerds. And when I got into the spiritual world, I mainly got into it, again, like a friend really helped me understand a lot of things very quickly, which I am so grateful for. And what ended up happening is this is so cheesy. One of the first tarot decks I got, I repeatedly kept pulling the Three of Cups card over and over and over. I mean, this card could have haunted my dreams. It was a nightmare. Like, it just kept showing up over and over. Every time I was like, what do I need to do? Three of Cups. What should I focus on today? Three of Cups. Like, I'm not even exaggerating. This is how it was. I have like a journal from that time, and legit, it's like every day that damn Three of Cups would show up. And for those of you that are unaware of what the Three of Cups is, it's a picture of three women kind of like dancing around a fire, or at least in my deck it is, and they're holding up cups in the air, and it's a card about community and celebration and coming together, and being together and having that friendship, that camaraderie. So I went to my friend and I was like, I think I'm supposed to form a coven, because I couldn't make sense of this Three of Cups card that kept coming over and over. So I had a friend, another friend that I talked to that is into the witchy stuff. She actually started Reiki at the same time as me. My mutual friend also had another friend. So we ended up with four women. Actually, there was 5 women in this initial coven with, I'm going to say, me clueless but excited. One of the other ones also clueless but excited. One that had grown up, again, seeing spirit. Yeah, I have multiple of those in my life. Seeing spirit, having all these spiritual experiences, essentially pushing it out and saying no thank you, and opting out of the spiritual stuff even though she's so in tune. And then we had the last one that was very, I'm going to stick with 4. I'm going to leave one out. No offense. You know who you are. I love you. It's not personal. It's just for the sake of easy stories, because 2 of you are very similar. And then the last one was an astrology expert, or is an astrology expert. So we all kind of had these different walks of life that kind of brought us together, and we all have little kids around the same age. So it was actually this really cool time for us so we had like our first meeting. You got to check the group dynamics, right? You got to check the group dynamics the first meeting. So if you are interested in kind of setting up your own coven, if you don't have one already, like think about who it is, have a partner in crime, think about like what you want out of the coven. So for us, we wanted a spiritual group. So we purposely found people who had that direction, that drive, that interest in the spiritual world. And those are the types of people we quote unquote recruited. And we were like, hey, want to get together and have like a mom witchy night? And that's exactly what happened. So we got together and we had this mom witchy night. We just did the first one just to see what the dynamics are, because we are all very different people. We are all very different people. One was going to school for accounting. I obviously financial services. Or consulting, I think at the time. Another one was a hairdresser. Another one, I think, worked in healthcare, right? So I'm just like, okay, so we have 4 of us that are really not from this background at all, but let's get together and see what the dynamic looks like. And it was great. We had a great time. Everyone just came and like brought these bags full of things, like tarot cards, pendulums, like everything. Like the astrology girl brought her like birth chart stuff, books. Like we would all just kind of show up with our things, drop them all on the table and be like, let's play. I mean, that was really our first meeting, and it was getting to know each other. And, as part of that group dynamic where you have to kind of like figure things out. It's like the storming, norming, you know what I'm talking about? Performing, where we just had to get to know each other. And what eventually happened is it was wonderful. It was such a wonderful outlet and such a safe space for me and this woman to come together and experiment with the spiritual stuff, teach each other these spiritual things. I use them as my practice group when I just started mediumship. I'm like, okay, so we had a group text, who wants a free reading? And I would literally like give them free readings constantly, right? Constantly. I would set up like Zoom calls where they'd hop on and meet me once a week. And I would do readings, and, they would provide the evidence for me or the validation for me, whether I got it right or not. And we would kind of do trades with all of these things we were learning. And it was so cool. It was so great. It was such a safe environment for us to learn and practice. And I knew they had my back. And I knew that no matter what I said was going on with me and what I'm receiving spiritually, especially during my like dark night of the soul where I lost my mind, I knew that group would have my back and support me, even if I sounded like I needed to go to an asylum. That's how amazing this group of women was. So we ended up meeting monthly thereafter, probably for about 6 months to a year, about meeting monthly. And then like school sports happen, and then, life just happens. And what was really interesting is how it naturally just kind of evolved, because by using each other as this gut check, which was, by the way, what was so cool about each other is there was no competition. Like we weren't out to be better than the other one. We were all truly like equals, so to speak. So there was no judgment if someone was better, not better, but it helped that we were all doing different modalities too. I'm gonna put that out there. It did help that we were all not like I was the only medium. one was only Akashic record, right? Like it was just it was cool because we were all even, we were all at the same level. There's no competition. So as we continued to like get together, evolve, group text all the time, send messages, send memes, send angel numbers to each other constantly. And then, like I said, then we started to just start fizzling out. Like we just couldn't find time on the calendar anymore. We couldn't get together anymore. And I think that two of the members kind of were like, I think I'm good with this. Like, I think I'm good. Like the astrology woman, she was super smart, but she was kind of good with astrology. And she's like, okay, I'm all practiced out now. And the other woman that did the Reiki stuff kind of got her Reiki cert. And then she's like, okay, I think I'm good now. I don't know if I want to do anything more with this. And then like me, going off the deep end, obviously, which is why you're listening to me, still 90 miles per hour going towards mediumship. In Akashic records. So I was like taking clients. I was, working my day job, having nighttime appointments with clients, doing weekend appointments with clients, starting to do events, starting to do the group readings. And so I had no time on top of kids' sports and all that stuff. And then the other one decided to take a full-time job and kind of go back. What's the right word I'm thinking about? A little bit of a break from work, which is when she really got into this. And then when she got back to work, she didn't have time anymore either. So what was so cool is it just like naturally dissolved and disintegrated. Like there were no conversations that needed to be had. It wasn't like, hey, we're formally disbanding this group. We were just able to kind of quietly go our own ways, and we're still obviously amicable with each other, but it's just really neat that we kind of naturally through the Three of Cups came together and used each other to lean on. And then once we kind of got what we needed out of that relationship, out of that coven, we naturally grew apart. And I think this is what I'm going to challenge you to do in many different aspects of your life. Like, would you like more friends? Would you like more community? Would you like to have somebody you could sit down and just talk to about some of the stuff that you do? Because we can all do it on social media, but it's not real. It's not authentic. They don't know who you are. They can't see your patterns, your traits, right? It's so much better, whether it's in person or virtual, I don't think that matters, but it's so much better when you can create time and give people space to talk, to work through things, to let them practice, and to give them space for like you to show up as your authentic self, asking for help, talking about certain topics, and for someone else in your group to show up authentically, talk about certain topics. And I would challenge you, if you are looking for that community, start reaching out to peers, people that you like, people that you admire, or, if you're not sure where to go and you're like trying to find some spiritual friends, go to a spiritual store. Ask the person at the desk, hey, I'm looking to get together. Do you have an event? Do you have a circle? Do you have something? But we all need community to grow, to thrive, to allow us to see perspectives that we don't have. So this Halloween season, I would encourage you, if you don't already have your quote unquote coven for either spiritual things, for knitting, I don't care, for books, for car racing, I don't care what it is. Do you have a coven that you can show up and be 100% yourself with? And if you do, freaking fantastic. Text them, tell them you love them, tell them you appreciate how vulnerable you can be. That's amazing. And if you don't, I encourage you to try to start one, because it is life-changing. I don't think I would ever be so confident or secure in my mediumship if I didn't have that safe space that I started in. If I didn't have friends that were like, yeah, get it. That's amazing. I love what you do. Yeah, you're doing such a good job. There's the validation. And like texting them and being like, I booked my first event. And they're like, holy crap, that's amazing. And then they show up, right? Like, I don't think I would be where I am today without them giving me the props, the high fives, the kudos back then, which essentially catapulted me into wanting to go 90 miles per hour because it felt good. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, it felt good to have those people on my back saying, keep going, you're killing it. And that's what I want for you. I want a cheerleader squad, besides obviously those of the folks in the spirit world, including your guides and loved ones, because they're your cheerleaders too. You just can't hear them, right? Most of you. But you need the people here in life to do that for you too. So I don't know what that looks like. That might be a friend. It might be a friend group like me. It might be your family. It might be, it might be some girls at work that you have common things with, But either way, it's just so important to find your coven, find your community, so that you can truly express who you are, who you want to be, and have a team that supports and loves you the way that you need to be loved and the way that you need to be supported. We all need that. We all need that. So if you're not sure where to start, again, look for circles, look for groups, go on, look for meetups. You can always start there, see who you like, and then if you want to have a separate one because you don't want everybody there, you can do that too. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of creating your own coven. I do want to happily report that I found a new coven. I didn't have to set it up this time. The Three of Cups did not stalk me again, but I did have a wonderful, wonderful woman that I'll probably have on this podcast at some point reach out and say, hey, I know that these 4 women, including herself, want to essentially dominate the world, because that's what I want to do. I want to dominate the world, Pinky in the Brain style here, but I want to dominate the world in terms of like mediumship, spiritual stuff. I want to help as many people as I can. I want to make such a huge impact on this world. I do not want to be rich and famous. I just want to make a huge impact. I want to dominate. I want people to see for themselves how wonderful they are and how powerful they are. And again, how much potential they have, and that we were all born into greatness and you just need to step into that role. So she recognized that in me. She recognized that in a few other people that are local. Thank goodness we can all get together and right now we get together once a month and we get coffee and we go for Italian food, right? And we get together and we make that time and we build that space for us to talk about and give a platform for what we want. And we ask each other every month, what can I do to help? What do you need from me? What do you need this week? What can we do for each other? And again, it's like my previous group on steroids, because these women, and by the way, you're as good as the people you surround yourself with. Statistically speaking, probably so psychologically speaking, sociologically speaking, I'm not sure which word it is. You are the culmination of the people that you hang around with the most. So that's what I mean why you need a community. So get together with people that inspire you, that want the best for you, that ask you, how are you doing? What can I do to help? And take it for as long as you can and go for as long as you can. Keep those connections for as long as you can. Know that a lot of the connections can fizzle out again or move on, or, there might be an expiration date just because you don't need that. Your direction has changed, your values have changed, and that's okay. But every turn, look for a community. Always say yes to meeting people and always show up in an authentic way so that you can have your best self, your best life, your best coven. There you go. All right. I hope that you can go out and create your coven if you don't already have one. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Halloween. All right. Take care, everybody.